We are now continuing our program, which is called Now. Hic et nunc, here and now. So, as we have been repeating ourselves quite often, we want to point out that the Catholic Church is something which is contemporaneous with the time. We are, as Catholics, we are contemporary. Our lives are contemporary with God, with Jesus. That is the magic, we could say, of the Catholic Church, of the Paschal mystery. In the seven sacraments, we live right through the times of the Old Testament, the life of the Holy Trinity, the life of Christ, and our lives gradually become identified with the life of the Trinity, with the life of the Israelites, with the life of Jesus Christ, with other people's lives, and that is what we are doing. So one of the focal points of the whole story is the Holy Sepulchre. Now, the Holy Sepulchre means the Holy Tomb. And we could say that the tomb is, for most people, as the word sepulchre, we all know in English, we say, he talked in very sepulchral terms. Sepulchral. That's it. We want to realize that the sepulchre is a joyful place. In other words, we want to realize that our lives are heading for the sepulchre, but the sepulchre is also identified with the resurrection. So our joy and life comes through the sepulchre. Now, we could go on for quite a long time talking about this problem, because as we know, the tomb is what most people are terrified of. They said, one day I'm going to go into the tomb and these bones are going to rot and I'm going to rot. But the singular thing about this Holy Sepulchre, as Jesus Christ was placed in the Holy Sepulchre, his bones and his flesh were the same as ours. According to all natural law, he should have rotted away. But the extraordinary thing is that on the third day, in a flash, because of supernatural energy, you could use the similarity of the word called singularity. What is the word singularity? We're all familiar with atomic terms. At the great Big Bang, which we say the universe started off at the Big Bang, just after the Big Bang, there what is known as the singularity. The singularity is, most people describe it as things being so dense that they have infinite value. Because what happens at the Big Bang, presumably, we weren't actually there, presumably at the Big Bang, that everything was enclosed in a very, very small space, and then suddenly, from this old space, the explosion took and the universe came into existence. So that was they call it a singularity. The thing is so intense that it actually holds within itself, like at the beginning of the Big Bang, the whole of the universe. So we could say that the Holy Sepulchre contains the Big Bang. How come? Well, the Holy Sepulchre is because Jesus Christ, we could use the same terminology. We could say Jesus Christ was God. Jesus Christ is infinite. He encompasses everything. But what he did was he chose to come down to a certain place. And that place is this, the Holy Sepulchre. That is why it is so important to the history of the universe. The Holy Sepulchre, maybe we could say in history, it's the most important place in the whole of the universe. Why is this? Because it contained the singularity of God becoming man in one place. He's this one man, the same as me, the same as you. He had blood, eyes, nose, and he was placed in one place. And according to all norms and natural norms and feelings and scientific ideas, he should have gradually rotted away and we open up the tomb and we see bones. The thing's a rotting mess. But the extraordinary thing is that this didn't happen. Why? Because it was a supernatural event. Because Jesus Christ was God. He came into the tomb in one place, and that is here. This Holy Sepulchre is in the northwest of Jerusalem. And we can go into how we can prove this, how we can disprove this, but it's a place in the north. So in other words, God became man. He was born in Bethlehem, he was brought up in Nazareth, and he died in Jerusalem. All very precise, all very scientific, it applies all the rules of chemistry. Why is this so? Because each of us is the same. You say, I was born in Cyprus, I was brought up in Scotland, and maybe I will die in Taipei. I don't know, quite possibly. I die somewhere anyway. So this whole existence, Cyprus, Scotland, Taipei, is just like a migratory bird. What am I doing? It's a load of baloney. But because I follow the same, you can say the same arc as Jesus, Bethlehem, Nazareth, Jerusalem, the Trinity, the Holy Church. And I follow in my own person, and you follow, if you're baptized and you believe this, you follow in the whole person. And the whole thing happened in the sepulchre. He died here. He died because just next to it is the Golgotha, where he died. And here is where he was buried. And here, this is the door of his tomb. You see, you have the sanctuary lamps. You can see this is a little tomb. You see, look, this is a tomb. That's the lid. And this is an angel. And these are women here. And we have here, up here, I'll show you later, there is a picture which is presented by the Catholics. This part, further down, is the Greek Orthodox. And further down is the Armenians. Okay? So we'll go into that greater detail. But you can see this is beautiful. Some people would say it's a bit overdone. But anyway, so now we're coming down here. All right? You see? You see here, you can see these are the 12 apostles. See? These are the 12 apostles. This is the resurrection. These are the angels. And you can see the women who come. We'll see them later on. They come to see what they see. These are the 12 apostles. And the reason for the 12 apostles is we understand that when Jesus, the apostle means sent, okay, emissary. He's like a kind of emissary to be sent to other places. So the 12 apostles symbolizes the Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church was also born on this place because when Jesus was crucified, out of his side there was water and blood. The water symbolizes baptism, the blood symbolizes the Eucharist. And that all composed together with the 12 apostles, we have the bishops. So all the bishops and the popes, yeah, you see. So we're now going along, we're going to see how we can get along. The next, this is, you see here, peacock. Just by the way, this sign, a peacock, why this is another story, but actually the peacock symbolizes resurrection. It's a symbolizer of peacock resurrection. I apologize. Anyway, so now what we do is the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. You see here now. Look. So what is the Day of the Atonement? Yom is day. Kippur is mercy in Hebrew. In English, the Day of Atonement. At one. You see, A become one. So what becomes one? Heaven and earth become one. So that happens. This feast in the Jews, as we all know, they have all sorts of feasts. And Jesus Christ, but why do they have their feast? the Jewish, we all know, they started 4,000 years ago with Abraham. And God designed the Jewish nation so that they would gradually lead up to Jesus Christ. So what happened was that the Jews had all sorts of stories and feasts, and what they were doing, we could say they were building up the God-man. They were building Jesus. And the most important part of these things were these rites. So most of us today are appalled. For example, one of the criticisms of the Catholic Church is that if I go to a Catholic church, I am presented as a priest standing up there and as an altar, and we have all these rites and bobbing and standing up and sitting down and reading this and reading that. And some people just can't take it. They prefer to go next door to a color, okay, or they kind of like a dancing or some kind of ceremony where Alleluia, Alleluia, my God, and all this carry on, which is all very well. I scream and shout when I'm on my honor. Why scream and shout? And we all like screaming and shouting. But if we want to get to heaven, maybe there's something. So we have what right. So the Jewish people, every year, in the 7th month, because the 7th month is the holy time, they have the Feast of the Atonement. And that's Yom Kippur. Yom, day, the day of mercy. The day because God is merciful. And what happens is that we haven't got a picture here, but we should have a picture here of the temple. And in the temple, you have what is known as the Holy of Holies. And you have on the Holy, we'll see later on down here, we'll see the thing. We'll see in the Holy of Holies, there is the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark of the Covenant is the locus classicus, the principal place of heaven and earth. Okay, and the high priest of the Jews, once a year, used to go into that place and put the blood of animals on the ark. And that was represented, the blood of the animals represented the life of the Jewish people. And the ark presented God. So the life of the Jewish people touched God, and God purified them. Their sins were forgiven, so they became at one. Originally, the Jews were here, God was here, the Jews were sinful, and they approached God on the Ark of the Covenant, the lid of the covenant, and when the blood touches the lid of the Ark of the Covenant, the Jewish people are purified, and because they are purified, they become at one with God. Now, that is the Yom Kippur on the day, and that's in English is the Day of the Atonement, and in Hebrew it's called the Day of Mercy, Kippurim, because the Kippurim, as we will see lightly, is the lid of the Ark of the Covenant. And we've probably heard about the Yom Kippur War, the 6-day war, I think it was 1969, I can't remember, when during the night all the Arab nations attack the Jews, and to start off the Jews were at a disadvantage, but they soon took over, and in 6 days they had a great victory. That was the day, the Yom Kippur War, the 6-day war. Now, the Yom Kippur, what has that got to do with Jesus Christ? Well, the reason is that the Yom Kippur was a Jewish ceremony presenting the at-one-ment, how God and man was joined. Well, Jesus Christ is a living day of Yom Kippur. Jesus Christ's whole life was building this link between man and God. So he was a living day of Yom Kippur. And our lives can be the same. For example, if I am tucking into bacon and eggs in the morning, I haven't had bacon and eggs for a long time. They could be tucking into bacon and eggs in the morning, but before tucking into the bacon and eggs, I'm being told to shut up now, before tucking into the bacon and eggs, I've been to Mass. So now what am I doing? I have my bacon and my eggs. But because I've been to Mass, and the Mass is the Day of the Atonement, my bacon and eggs become part of a heavenly sacrifice, and my normal everyday activities become Trinitarian, divinized, theosis divinities. So the next little show we have here, we are going to go to heaven, we're going to go up to the whole lot, and we're going to go to earth. So have a good time. Thank you so very much.